Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Innovation Podcast, your source for all things innovation. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Maximillian Cunha on the line, and he's principal and owner over at Trellis Executive Search. Max, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to get into the growth of the ag tech and food tech space and sector. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at Trellis Executive Search. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So Trellis Executive Search is a executive search consultancy that I founded where I specifically work with early stage food and ag tech startups to help them build out their executive teams.
And that's why I'm excited about today's topic. Like you're really in the middle of all these things and helping to build teams and bring together the right type of people. So you have a unique vantage point of knowing kind of what's next in this ag tech and food tech space. So let's just jump right into today's topic. So what really excites you about this space right now?
Yeah, great question. So the ag and food tech space has just exploded. I mean, just over the past 3 years. And I mean, what's particularly exciting about this is, agriculture and food is sort of one of the major, kind of staples of the economy that's sort of been neglected in terms of the other innovations and technologies that, we've seen tons of growth in terms of, medicine and biotech and consumer tech. And so there are just so many areas of innovation that are just up for grabs. It's just a huge white space in terms of market right now, and it's just a really exciting time to be a part of it. And we're seeing now there's a lot more attention being brought to it. With climate change being a really hot button issue across media. Just last year, 2019, Beyond Meat's IPO really brought a lot of attention to this space, and it's only going to continue to grow here because more and more of the supply chain deficiencies are being highlighted by a lot of the challenges that are happening today. And I mean, there's just so much opportunity for new technology, new innovation that's, not a luxury. It's a necessity to feed the growing population and really address the global concerns that are affecting everyone right now.
Let's talk about a little bit, not to get too technical, but let's go a little bit further down the line of the supply chain thing and some of those gaps and where you see technology maybe being able to kind of fill in some of those gaps and make things work better. So tell us a little bit more about kind of what you're seeing on the supply chain side.
Yeah, it's a great question. So right now I work really closely with a company called Full Harvest, which is a B2B marketplace to connect suppliers, farmers and growers with food companies to help them sell their either lower grade or surplus produce. And, interestingly right now with everything that's happening with COVID, there's a massive problem with food waste that's happening, right? Because the supply chain is really impacted. And now farmers have grown all this food that they really can't seem to, get anywhere because of the current, logistics systems they have in place. And so, what's really interesting about that is these types of technology solutions are going to need to continue to be invested in, to prevent things like this in the future. Because, everyone's going to the grocery store today and seeing that, there's lots of things that are out of stock, and these can all be solved with the right kinds of technology applications. And we see that across the board within ag tech and food tech. There are lots of companies trying to solve for this, and it's only going to continue to be a more prevalent issue as we move through this whole ordeal.
Yeah, it's tricky, but I do see, like you mentioned, it comes down to a lot of problems, a lot of opportunities that maybe would have taken a lot longer to solve are now, they're now urgent, and now it's a thing. Like you have to solve it, and I guess this is on the very, very minute, small bit, but I just noticed when I got some takeout yesterday from Tender Greens over here, and you had the options of buying like these boxes, and then my guess is it's their ingredients they're selling, right? Like there was a fruit box, and there was these other boxes there, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like they have all this food that they have to really, sell one way or another, and their doors aren't open. They're only doing takeout, so by definition, they're probably not doing the same numbers, in my opinion, that they would have been doing because of their location. So they're trying to figure it out the way they can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what kind of like interests you going forward in this space? So we know that the supply chain is one thing. I'm just curious, what kind of interests you going forward? Like, what are some of the new challenges or problems that you think are going to be really interesting? And not asking you to have a crystal ball, by the way, not putting you on the line like that or on the spot like that, but just from your vantage point, like what excites you?
So what's exciting to me, and this is a challenge that I see across the entire ag tech space, is a major challenge here is the willingness, I think, to adopt new technology by farmers. And a lot of these food companies, I mean, they're very old school. A lot of them still use fax machines as a primary method of communication, right? Which is sort of crazy to think about.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and so, but what's exciting about this is, I think we're going to see similar trends in other technologies, right? Like with the iPhone that came out, you have early adopters and people that are willing to try it, and then it just becomes the norm, right? And so I think, in the way current events are happening, I think we're going to possibly catalyze that shift even faster, which is great, because to bring this space and this supply chain up to speed in terms of technology with the other, with other companies around the world, I mean, it's going to have an incredible impact in terms of climate change, in terms of food waste and being able to feed everyone, bringing down the cost of nutrition to everyone, and the accessibility of food. So that to me is really exciting, and why I'm passionate and just really excited to work in the space.
Oh, that's awesome. So final question, a two-part question. Part one, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about Trellis Executive Search, first, part one, what are the right types of companies and the right niches that you like working with over at Trellis Executive Search? And then part two of the question, what's the best way for them to reach out and to connect?
Sure, great question. Yeah, I mean, so ag and food tech, it's a pretty big umbrella term where we're really working. I mean, I really work with any company that's at the intersection of any technology with food and agriculture. So it's a pretty wide range of companies that I work with, typically on the earlier side of things, Series A through D. And if anyone wants to find me, you can reach me. I have a website. It's agtechsearch.com. That's the easiest way. You can also always welcome to connect with people on LinkedIn, which you can just look me up by my name or by Trellis Executive Search and find me there.
Perfect. Well, Max, been great having you on the show today. Appreciate you giving us some updates on what's going on in the industry. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review in the Apple iTunes store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to hear what kind of things that you're working on and what kind of projects you have going. And Max, thanks again for coming on the show.